All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for being here. We are excited to present our Capstone project to you today, and we've put a lot of work into it this semester, and we've really enjoyed the opportunity to get to know Camille, Jonas, and the rest of the organization. We wanted to, before we begin, we just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge a recent loss of a co-founder here, Howard Jesper. We just wanted to offer our condolences, and you so much. Just take a moment, as we have researched, brainstormed, and collaborated as a team to provide these hopefully timely, valuable, and ready to go strategies for Exponents, we have developed a deep respect for the organization and the team that's on the ground. So we are proud to present to you our proposed strategies. For a quick breakdown of this presentation, we're going to begin on the next slide with some team introductions so that you know who we are and who was speaking to you today. And then we're going to explain why we're here and the problems that we're trying to solve, as well as the explanation of our methodology and the resources that we've used. Then we're going to present our proposed strategies for board development, fundraising enhancement, legislative advocacy, communications, technology, infrastructure, and then we're going to wrap everything up with some metrics to measure the strategies that we propose. To give you a bit of background of who we are, we'll all take a moment just to briefly introduce ourselves before diving in, but I want to note that we're all master's students at Columbia University School of Professional Studies in the Nonprofit Management Program, but we have a diverse set of backgrounds, skills, and interests. I think we're starting with Vanessa.
Yeah, so I'm Vanessa. Nice to meet you guys again. Nice to see you. I think it's my first time meeting you, so nice to meet you as well. I was born and raised in the Bronx. I currently work at Harlem Children's Zone as a college counselor. Yeah, so who's at Jeffrey King? Yes. And the part of the project that I worked on was finding prospects for the board and corporate fundraising. So I'm going to pass it over to Sierra.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sierra Costa. I focused on the prospect research and major gift solicitation portion of this project.
Hi, everyone. I'm Scout Eisenberg, and I worked on the foundations and the communication sections.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kelly. I come from China, and in this project, I focus on timeline and budget sections.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Emily. You've already heard from me before, but I am focusing on board enhancement today.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. I'm Lizelle. I will be focusing on cultivation, stewardship, and technology infrastructure.
Hi everyone, my name is Diana Urias. I'm from California, the Bay Area. So I'm representing them today, and I focused on the legislative advocacy portion of this project. So first, we're going to go over the opportunities for growth. So Exponents' growth strategy focuses on 5 core areas to ensure both immediate results and long-term sustainability. So the first is board development. We aim to recruit 4 to 5 experienced board members, set specific fundraising goals, and increase the annual board contribution from $3,000 to $5,000. Second is fundraising growth. Our goal here is to diversify funding through major gifts, corporate sponsorships, foundation support, and campaigns, attracting new major donors and enhancing corporate engagement. Third is legislative advocacy. Right here, we aim to build long-term relationships, track new grants, sponsorships, and increase partner involvement in our programs. Next up is communications, and here we want to strengthen Exponent's brand and digital presence while amplifying its mission, measured through website traffic, social media growth, and media mentions. Lastly is operational efficiency. So we want to do this by upgrading tech and CRM systems to better track donors, streamline grant writing, and demonstrate impact, leading to longer stewardship and sustainability. So now I'm going to pass it over to Kelly, who's going to walk us through the methodology of our work.
Thank you so much, Diana. And let's wrap the methodology sections. Our methodology for this project is designed to ensure that every recommendation is both evidence-based, that entitled to affluent viewing needs. So we begin by conducting comprehensive review for the organization exists across 5 focus areas, which is for developments, fundraising, litigation advocacy, communications, and technology. It includes analyzing internal document, donor data, scale out revenues, and board strategy to understand current strategies and gaps. Let's have the stage to Emily about the project number 1.
Awesome. So the first project focus is board development. And to the next slide. So the first strategy that we're proposing is to expand the board of directors. There's currently 11 board directors, and we are proposing to expand it to 15 to 18 with at least 15 active members. Currently, board members are also asked to get $3,000 annually, but we propose that the new board members get $5,000 annually. We find that aligns with peer organizations a little bit more. Once you've got new board members, we recommend creating subcommittees so they can focus on things like project or program development, fundraising, and community outreach. All of the board focus is to develop more of a fundraising focus for. You feel that would really benefit experts. Some of the key skills of these, we're about to show a couple of prospective people that we recommend you might consider reaching out to, but we recommend that they have, powerful networks that are within the healthcare system, harm reduction, health equity system, and as well as digital engagement. We think that help. I'm gonna hand it over to Vanessa to cover extended prospective board members.
Thanks, Emily. So for our prospect board members, these specific individuals to support our project focuses, these are the individuals that we chose. Specifically, these individuals have a lot of experience, over 20 plus experience within healthcare. Some of them are junior partners within law firms, and one of them comes from the Legal Aid Society. We mainly pick these individuals, one, to push forward our vision of supporting Exponents through communications, fundraising, and legal support. But mainly we really chose these individuals because they have a lot of skills within board governance. A lot of them have over 10 plus years within board governance, with the exception of a few of our partners within law firms. They're junior partners, so they have about 3 to 5 years in board governance. But if you don't choose these individuals as a whole, we're hoping that you choose individuals within the same field as them. Yeah, just a general gist. And now I'm gonna pass it over to Shiera for fundraising and counsel.
Great, you can go to the next slide, please. So to build a sustainable and strategic fundraising program at Exponents, it starts with a strong prospect research that answers 2 key questions: who has the capacity to give, and who's inclined to support the mission. Internally, you can review your CRM Bloomerang, which holds valuable data, past donors, event attendees, live bunt or side bunt donors, and who just may need thoughtful re-engagement. Externally, tools like Donor Search AI go beyond well screening, and we use predictive analytics to identify giving patterns, track volunteer activity, and flag meaningful engagement even on social media, which helps reveal not just who can give, but who is likely to give and why. Additional platforms like iWave, Zillow, and Candid can offer further insights, and even a quick Google search or reviewing donor lists from peer organizations can bring about useful connections to Exponent's mission. Once enough intelligence is gathered, process can be segmented into the A through D matrix. Group A is high capacity and high inclination, and those are your best prospects and your top priority. Group D is low on both inclination and capacity and should be deprioritized. This approach will help Exponents focus time and energy on relationships with the greatest potential, and by tracking key indicators like new prospects, conversion rates, and average gift growth, you can measure success over time. Ultimately, effective prospecting builds smart, values-aligned strategy for long-term growth, deepening relationships, re-engaging lapsed donors, and welcoming new champions into your mission.
Next slide, please.
And you can press play. So I did a very quick run-through of some prospecting. I chose Alexander McNeeking, who was proposed as a board member. Here you can find his bio, and it establishes his inclination. Next, since he is going to be a board, we want to ensure he has no reputational issues. So I found a lawsuit that had his name when I did a Google search. It shows that he was an expert testimony and was not charged with anything. Next, to establish capacity, we found I'm sorry, going a little fast. I found his same job at the job description with his title that establishes his compensation is around $250,000 to $300,000. Obviously, it can vary, but it sets a baseline as to what he's making. And then finally, iWave is a paid tool. You can find his contact information by putting in his name, where he's from, It has his employment, his address, political donations. It also establishes him as as having a high estimated net worth, which is very helpful. Next slide, please. Giselle?
Yeah, thanks, Sharon. Now, to build a pop nation and strengthening the relationship, we recommend the following strategies for donor cultivation. So first is to assess current state, and here, to create this, it's important to evaluate donor base and fundraising efforts by defining vision and identifying objectives for the future. Now, to achieve near-term goals, it's important to analyze donor patterns, retention, and engagement, followed by setting measurable goals for 6 to 12 months. Now, for the long-term goals, here we defined a 3 to 5 year objectives, such as building a major donor program or establishing an endowment fund. Now, for the second one, to identify communication channels and develop talking points. So here, we figured that to identify communication channels and develop talking points is crucial to get an idea of effective communication methods for donors, whether it's via mail, on the phone, or in person. And another thing that we also would suggest is using this tool called Salesforce Radiant 6, which can monitor donor conversation and analyze how the organization is being discussed in cyberspace. And we also suggest the creation of an engagement plan where it highlights high-level statistics, personal stories, tailored outreach materials, and host events such as luncheons, documentary viewing, or even small-scale events. Now, last is to create an implementation roadmap that outlines action steps needed to engage with different target audience and track outcomes. Now, I will be passing it again to Shana for a solicitation.
Thank you. So major gift fundraising, the ask should never feel sudden. It's a natural next step in a relationship built on trust and shared values. By this point, the donor should already understand the mission, feel connected to the work, and see how their support makes a difference. By moving forward with the ask yourself, does this opportunity align with both our priorities and the donor's goals? A strong proposal is both practical and inspiring, grounded in need but elevated by vision. Key planning decisions include who makes the ask, ideally someone the donor trusts, and how it's delivered. Whether it's a conversation, a proposal, a casual meeting, it should feel warm, confident, and tailored. Using storytelling to bring the impact to life. Help the donor see themselves as a partner in creating real change. Make the need personal, make the outcome vivid. Donors will have questions. Why this project? Why now? What will my gift achieve? Be transparent, clear, and confident. Remember, you're not just asking for a donation, you're offering an opportunity. Even a no is a chance to listen, learn, and align for the future. And always be flexible, offer giving options that meet the donor where they are and invite them to say yes in a way that's meaningful to them. Thank you. Next slide.
So for donors who feel, we can to share it. So now for donors who feel appreciated and valued, we created a stewardship chart that highlights acknowledgement, recognition, reporting, and cultivation. And here, this can be a helpful guide in creating a sustainable fundraising program. So we believe that expressing gratitude within 1 week shows donor that their support is appreciated, and it fosters a goodwill. Now, different donors appreciate different forms of recognition, reporting, and cultivation. So it's important to tailor these strategies and approaches based on their preference. And to learn more about foundation support, we have Scout as our next speaker.
Thank you so much, Giselle. So another area we see opportunity for fundraising growth is through targeted cultivation of foundations that are well aligned with Exponents' mission and programs. We did a deep dive of foundations throughout New York City and within the field, and found several high potential foundations that we think align well. So I'll pull out some ones that we thought might be great here, including the Weinberg Foundation, which supports New York-based organizations with a focus on health, housing, equity, and the LGBTQ+ community. They offer very generous grants and tend to fund organizations in this space as well. And the Helmsley Charitable Trust as well is a great fit. They focus on behavioral health, and likewise have invested in other nonprofits in the same field as Exponents. Other promising prospects include the Tiger Foundation. I think you said that you've had some experience with them, but we were thinking that Exponents could also work specifically under their family focus, aligning Exponents programs as essential for family support. We also recommend City's Community Progress Makers. They have a focus on nonprofits that work on social economic opportunities, as well as the Bronx Foundation, New York Community Trust, Robin Hood Foundation. They have some very interesting capital grants out right now that I think Exponents fits well into. And finally, Link NYC for in-kind public advertising. So these prospects we think are well aligned with Exponent's mission and programming and would position the organization to receive more sustainable and diversified support. And I'm going to pass it on to Vanessa for corporate giving.
Yeah, so now for corporate fundraising. First, we want to acknowledge that Exponents has done a great job with their corporate fundraising, being the fact that it supports your annual gala, and you guys get corporate fundraising from a diverse sector. So whether it's within the healthcare field and food industries as well, I was shocked to see the Cheesecake Factory on the list. Right, right. Even with the diverse sponsorship levels, you've gotten donations from $375 all the way to $7,500 from diverse range of students. Diverse range of sponsorships, and also for gala revenues growth has come from 2022 to 2024 of over $30,000, from $50,000 to $80,000. So with that being said, Exponents has done a great job. On to the next slide, please. Right, but we have a couple of recommendations for growth, right? So for one, we want to strengthen the existing corporate relationships that we have. I know from our meeting with Canute mentioned that you guys have a quarterly newsletter that you do with your corporation for your corporate sponsorship relationships. But we want to implement a regular check-in system with impact updates, mainly because we want to keep Exponents on the top of their minds, right? And we want to keep them have fresh view and eyes on Exponents when it's time for application season. Two, we also want to extend invitations to site visits and program events. Just to foster loyalty, we want them to come around and see what exactly it is that Exponent does and exactly how they should invest their time into this organization. Two, we want to establish tiered sponsorship programs. By establishing them, we get to create clear and defined benefits for each tier. That way they can put their logo placement, get event tickets, and it'll just build networking for Exponents as a whole. Three, we want to utilize honoree networks. I noticed on the list we have a lot of honorees. I'm sure their network could really help with expanding how we can expand our corporate sponsorships. So with that, we will probably create a corporate sponsorship presentation for honorees to just go around and share with their network. That way we can just spread out Exponent's name. Four, we want to reach out to the low-level donors by engaging with corporations. I believe from the gala revenue of 2024, their lowest donor was Millens Association, who gave under $2,000. So I feel like if you meet with them more and just set up their one-on-one meetings, they can then invest more into the organization and just see more what Exponents got. Next slide, please. And then these are a couple more recommendations we have for corporate just for us to build more partnerships with them. Walgreens, CVS Health, VIIB Healthcare, and Viva Glam Fund all support organizations that are similar to Exponents, and their application cycle has been detailed in the report that we're going to get to you soon. So a couple of them are opening within June, and we have some opening within the new year. But they all fit within and can support your different programs. Yeah, and now I'm going to pass it over to Diana for our legislative advocacy project focus.
Okay, next slide, please. So before I dive into the legislative advocacy strategy, let's define what advocacy means for Exponents and how it shapes our approach. So with conversations with Canute, you showed interest in wanting to really define what advocacy means for the organization. So I came up with these three key areas. At its core, advocacy is about using influence to drive awareness and change in public health and policy spaces, but for Exponents, it's about advancing public health equity, elevating client voices to shift narratives, and build awareness through storytelling and community engagement. This approach allows Exponents to leverage board expertise, strengthen its reputation, and stay compliant within nonprofit regulations. Next, board members will help amplify Exponents' visibility through PR, storytelling, and thought leadership. Next slide, please. So for strengthening Exponents' reputation and expanding its impact, the advocacy strategy will prioritize storytelling and thought leadership as public education tools. So we recommend positioning Exponents as a recognized thought leader in HIV/AIDS treatment, recovery, and public health equity. Also through client-centered storytelling, we want to highlight success stories that create emotional connections with funders, policymakers, and the public. And we suggest a digital strategy targeting platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn, using short form stories and educational content to engage younger audiences. So by elevating Exponent's voice and amplifying client stories, we can build more visibility and deepen community trust and open new pathways for more partnerships. So to bring these strategies to life, board members will actively support and amplify, by these three areas: advising. So this is a more behind the scenes approach. I'm so sorry. I have all my stuff right here. So the three key areas is advising. So you expressed that you wanted more of a behind the scenes approach. So we want to focus on an emphasis on network expansion, policy advising, and thought leadership support. So this is going to be more behind the scenes, like reviewing messaging, making sure that it's tight and neat and polished and within, trauma center informed, making sure that everyone has consent, like making sure that all the stories are aligned. And the last is the expectation says that board members are not expected to engage in lobbying or public testimony. So storytelling and thought leadership. So to strengthen Exponent's reputation and expand its impact, the advocacy strategy will prioritize storytelling and thought leadership. So the second one is storytelling campaigns. So we want to amplify client success stories and program impact. And last is younger audience and digital platforms, like I mentioned before. So for board support, like I said, board is going to be working on advising on messaging, reviewing advocacy. Next is through network expansion. So this is social media, making sure that they're regularly posting the messages through their own LinkedIn networks, through their own pages as well, so they can reach their network. Also through advocacy, just incorporating client stories. We want them to regularly attend events. I think presence is always good too. Just anywhere where there's public recognition of any, people that you're highlighting, success stories, anybody who's being awarded something, just mere presence also works as well for board support. Next slide, please. So for board advocacy roles, we want to make sure that everything is 501c3 compliant as well. We don't want to get into the touchy lobbying space, because we all know what that ends up in the revocation of our exempt status. So by supporting public education campaigns, issue awareness, and community engagement, incoming board members can elevate Exponent's role as a trusted leader while also ensuring compliance with 501c3 regulations. So the incoming board members are going to have three main roles: to educate, to amplify, and to engage. So the board will help with things like co-signing public letters, writing op-eds to educate on issue awareness. Second, with amplifying, it's highlighting success stories, promoting awareness days like the HIV World AIDS Day, which is on December 1st. We have, the AIDS walk coming up on the 18th, just kind of highlighting all those awareness days and making sure that we're engaged in that as well. And also organizing forums, like Vanessa said, organizing site visits. That's something that board members can also help arrange. If there's not already boots on the ground doing that, I think that's a way to kind of leverage incoming board members in the use of their time. So these efforts will help position Exponents not only as a thought leader, but expand visibility and strengthen community engagement. So now I'm going to pass it over to Scout, who's going to walk us through the communication strategy.
Thank you so much, Anna. So we did a deep dive of Exponent's communication channels, and we found a lot of strength in the human-centered storytelling and the strong ethos that came through. But we did find a few areas for growth that could benefit Exponents, particularly in the fundraising efforts. So to address these recommendations, we're focusing on 4 key areas. The first is defining a clear and consistent voice for Exponents. The second is to activate underused channels, and we also have a new channel to bring as well. The third is intentionally targeting key audiences, and the fourth is to streamline internal workflows when it comes to communications. So what follows are a set of low-lift, high-impact tools and approaches that we recommend to aid this recommendation. The first is to intentionally define Exponent's brand voice. This means creating a set of guidelines that cover tone, language, intention, and key messages that will ensure professional, consistent communications across all your platforms. It also lets your audience quickly understand who you are as an organization. To aid this, it would also be important to maintain consistent visual brand across your platforms, this including colors, fonts, logo placement, and we found that this was really present on the website, but could appear more on the social media channels. Next is to use Canva, which it seems that you use for your events. But I think it could be a great thing to have for your social media as well. Creating a library of content and templates that follow these guidelines and are easily accessible would be a great tool to have. The fourth, we noticed you had some great client videos on your YouTube, and we thought this would be a great way we could repurpose these and bring these onto your social media. Maybe it's Instagram or LinkedIn. We know that social media favors seeing real people, so this is a great way to get attention without having to make new content. The fifth is setting up a link tree. This can centralize access to key resources through one click. So you could have links to donate, links to your programs, links to other events, and so on. But this would be great for funders and potential clients alike. Sixth is to re-engage your LinkedIn with Exponents leadership and the board, as we talked about, to bring Exponents' voice more into the field and expand their audience. So to best implement these practices, we recommend increasing planning and review meetings, especially with your consultant, as well as bringing the consultant more into the fold when it comes to the other departments, so that the consultant is well aware of your fundraising priorities and everything else that's going on, as well as creating content architecture, which might be helpful to cover as a goal with this consultant. That could mean, saying that you're going to do 30% of your time you're spending on client stories, 20% is on programming, 20% impact data, and the rest is on events. That's just one example, but it helps to define the structure. So finally, we created these examples here to show the strategic recommendations and actions and how they can actually be applied to content that you already have. The first features a beautiful client testimonial that you already have on your website. Focusing on clients' lived experiences will help humanize the work that you do and build an emotional connection. This is essential for funders, supporters, and potential clients. The second photo features Exponents' mission. This type of post could be pinned onto your Instagram, on your Facebook, so that anyone that's going to your pages quickly knows who you are and who you serve. So altogether, this kind of consistent value-driven content is more than just an aesthetic tool. It's a powerful tool to drive Exponents brand awareness and ultimately funding opportunities. And next, I'm going to hand it over to Roselle.
Thank you, Scout. Now, for technology and infrastructure, our three main focus here will be providing an enhancement inference system and the application of AI integration. And we also have a list of other platforms to explore. Next slide, please. So to enhance patient data and information sharing, we recommend an audit trail with timestamps. Now, this is to help track changes in access, and also we recommend regular trainings for staff on data entry, reporting, and usage, where there's like a pre-test and a post-test after the training. Now, to utilize PEO for human outsourcing solutions, we define a successful partnership through performance monitoring by regular new use and feedback for staff. And we also recommend leveraging PEO's expertise to navigate political shifts, adherence to applicable regulations, and compliance. And to enhance case management, using the award system, we believe that a customizable feature that can adapt workflows and integration of existing systems can provide benefits to enhance human services and behavioral health management. To utilize the usage of Canva, implementing a creation of mobile optimization tool can ensure designs are mobile-friendly and responsive to various screen sizes, and adding interactive elements like clickable links can also help engage viewers and amplify reach. Now last, to strengthen Bloomerang software capabilities, engagement surveys is a good tool to get insights from donors and learn about their preferences and motivation. And lastly, in Campaign Hub, supporters are encouraged in creating their own fundraising campaign. There is peer-to-peer fundraising features where supporters can register, track progress, and share updates. Next slide, please. And now we are switching gears and talk on how to leverage AI to further enhance Exponents' operational efficiency. So we think that a partnership with AI lenders who specialize in healthcare solutions can be a good thing to do, and where AI chatbots and real-time translations are like added into that. And here, when both AI chatbots and real-time translations, it's important to have important to integrate in order to create multilingual context to expand reach to global audience. And so with a marginalized community from different cultures, backgrounds, and languages, we think that it's important to use this tool to communicate mission, vision, and goals effectively. Now, once we have the AI tools implemented, another strategy that we also recommend is establishing a governance and ethical guidelines, and by following frameworks like Microsoft Responsible AI Principles to address bias, privacy, and accountability. And next slide, please. So here are some additional recommendations of platforms that Exponents might be interested in. So for Snowball fundraising, this is to increase donor engagement. So it's an all-in-one fundraising platform. It has options, text to give, unlimited fundraising campaigns, charity event ticketing, and nonprofit supporter management. And for Sure Impact, it streamlined client progress through automated service tracking and case management tools. And for Board Strong, this is to help increase networking and funding opportunities in the state, since it's a subsidiary of the New York Council of Nonprofits. And this is to help diversify and professionalize board and attract skilled members. And last, Diligent Board. So this is to provide a secure, centralized platform for board governance and protect sensitive discussion. And now I will pass it over to Kelly to close out the presentation by discussing metrics for ourselves.
Thank you so much, Hassao. So last but not least, let's recap the 6C metrics for these sections. So our recommendation strategy, Exponents across by area, fundraising, governance, government relationship, communication, and technology. So with a clear 6C metrics from growing up Gala revenues to expanded government partnerships, organization in place for the long-term accessibility, and deeper communication impact and leadership in harm reductions and health equality. So last back to Emily to the question.
All right, so that is the end of our presentation. Thank you. You made it through. We're happy to take, if you have any questions, if you want to talk about any of the things that we went over, we would be happy to do that. Yes, yeah.
So I just want to say that this presentation was amazing. I think that you all were in my head because everything that you talked about, it's been there. Canute and I have had conversations about a lot of these things, and seriously, a lot of these things we are starting to do and have been doing for some time. It was really, really great. I appreciate it, and I want you all to be on my junior board.
Yeah, awesome.
Very, very.
There's going to be more details in the report, so it'll be respective to the section. So there'll be more details. Canute, through our conversations, also templates might be useful for some of the work.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to be attaching some of those things as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And to echo Regina, I mean, this was great. I mean, there's just so many things that I wrote down here.
That's always a good sign. That's always a good sign.
Everything. I love the way you define, and it was very clear around defining advocacy, and even just that, that thing, and even with respect to I can't read. Regina knows I cannot read my own handwriting. I don't know why I don't walk around with an iPad. So I honestly cannot read. My grandma would just. I hope not. I cannot. Okay, I'll just say, board members, even ask board members to. Honest, I cannot pick these.
We can go back. We can go back to the beginning.
Even from the start of your presentation about increasing the board's contributions,
and
the board's giving. all of that stuff we've discussed and we're
Yeah.
working on now and trying to get that. So this is just going to be a very, very handy day.
And a powerful tool to give to the board members.
Yeah.
To say,
tell them.
yeah, to say we have external.
So is that something that you want?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
one pager for like incoming board members to kind of go over
Yeah,
what
yeah,
their
yeah.
priorities are gonna be.
Yeah.
Who's giving y'all
Expectations.
more work to do? You're about to graduate.
I mean, if that's gonna make my portion of the paper more useful.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, and I also have to say,
I still have a few days. I'm not done yet.
I also have to say, I mean, they're doing things with AI, some of the foundations, that were recommended. And it's interesting. Even with Viva Glam, like I knew of them, and for some reason, it just never dawned on me, like in the last year, to actually reach out to them.
I was
So-
just on the train right now and
Oh,
took
yeah.
a picture of the AIDS Walk poster
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
in the subway right now,
Yeah.
and Vive is one of their sponsors.
We dealt with some community.
Yeah.
I knew about them, but I've not reached out to them in the last year.
And
So
even
when
like
I saw
upcoming
that,
on the
it sort of
18th, like getting a group of people from Exponents to go and do the AIDS Walk, taking pictures and
yeah,
posting
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Posting it already, like little things of like leveraging things that are already there.
In that every day.
That's good.
You raise less than $5,000 as a team, that money comes back to your agency.
Oh,
Yeah. So
that's good.
our one of our program directors, Dana Diamond, she's always involved in that.
Yes.
Also, definitely
support.
explain to them a little bit about Dana's campaign that she does at HID Stops Us.
So we talk about partnerships. So Dana Dunn, our Director of Health Services, is also a spokesmodel for the HSB Stops Us Need campaign. Has been, I think she's the longest running spokesmodel they've had. This is her sixth year doing it. They kind of review every year, look at the presentation that you've done. So she's helped us, and we've helped her, so she's always getting great presentation. So, and it's a really, really unique way to kind of get her out there, as well as Exponents. Her thing is all over the train,
Yes.
so billboards.
For billboards.
And so it's really, really an exciting way to kind of partner. I had a question. Though.
Yeah.
So a lot of this stuff seems to sit around the board. So, and I guess this is a question for Canuti, Regina, and Scott. We gotta adopt this as our strategic plan, because if so, I think this needs to go out to all board members, new and potential. And I'll just say one of the things I was very excited about. There were 2 names that we knew on the retention list. So Felicia Pulling is a very long-standing part of the organization. She's very close friends with our CEO. And of course, everybody knows Guillermo Chacon. It's like begin all be all when it comes to servicing the Latinx community. I was wondering, so here's the thing. So we talk about advocacy, we talk about from the board perspective. One of the things that we do here also is something called advocacy as intervention. So, and I think that kind of falls into what you folks call storytelling. So it's like helping individuals understand that you come in here with a lot of pain, a lot of trauma, but on the other side of that, that story becomes a tool for change. In addition to the bar graphs or pie charts, your story is a critical opportunity to change the minds of stakeholders and policymakers and funders. And so I'm wondering, is there a way to kind of incorporate some of that board stuff, some of the, because here's the other thing, we're looking
experience of our colleagues.
exactly, because one of the things we're trying to do is look at, in these very trying political times, how do we get this word out in ways that really resonate with different audiences? So I understand that maybe the audience of funders or fundraising individuals or potential donors may be the board. But I'm wondering, so when we go to Albany or when we go to DC, is that a different level? And then my follow-up question to that is, where do we find someone who can train individuals in public speaking? Because I think this is something board knows that. No, some board members don't.
Yeah.
Board members are very uncomfortable having those conversations around fundraising, around the organization. They aren't really doing elevator pitches. So I'm wondering, might you guys be able to maybe find a place that does that kind of training?
Since I'm gonna add stuff, that'll be in the advocacy section. I'll try to find one person. I think we could find one person, at least a public speaking coach or somebody in the area that has a little bit of experience.
Because people get, I get told, you ask me a question, it's not on topic, so how do I bring that back to what I want to do? That's a whole skill set. So.
Yeah, like the prompting and the moving and the facilitating of how do we get this going? Yeah.
Let me I'm gonna do Professor Prickly for a second. Do this interview for a second.
I'll find one person.
We can find, I actually do that, and I have friends who do that.
Oh, here he is. There we go. In-house.
We could do, like, that could be done. The media training part is done, we'll put some of that language and some options into the documents. And then on the lobbying, you do lobbying days in Albany, the epicenter, yeah, physically.
Yeah.
So we can work some of the storytelling that you're talking about and the language and tone. We touched on language and tone. So we'll address that in that section, in terms of who you might want to talk to in Albany and what you say to them.
And you're the professor there.
I am their professor.
And your name is?
Basil Smikle.
Basil Smikle.
Yes.
Professor Basil Smikle.
Yes.
Might you, on this list, amend that potential board list to maybe provide a colleague of yours, Dr. Sam Roberts, we could get him on the board?
Dr. Sam Roberts. I wish he was here a couple of days ago.
Yeah. Well played, sir. Well played. Yeah, let me, all right.
Well, you guys are really busy at Club.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Well played, sir.
Well, I do have to say, it's really been a pleasure working with the team over the last semester, over the semester, right? And I mean, it's actually, I'm actually going to be, you know the book called Tuesday with Maurice? You know what I mean? Where they would meet every, I feel like, what am I going to do on Mondays? I feel dirty now. But that's actually one of those things I really look forward to, to it. I really kind of saw this as, of mentoring and giving back, but more importantly, you look at you guys as the future leader in the field, and I know that as you graduate, it's going to be bittersweet, but it's also, you guys have this wonderful opportunity to make impact in a time where we need people to make impact. And so congratulations on graduating. Welcome to the field.
And welcome to the junior board.
There is some German anxiety there.